So if we look at the eyeball, there it is in all of its glory, man. It is a truly magnificent piece of machinery when you think about it. There at the front, we've kind of looked at our, there's the cornea right there. Okay. And the conjunctiva lines that outside, folds up and goes onto the eyelid itself as well. Cornea, it's a specialized portion of the sclera. Sclera is just the white AI. Sclera means hardening, right? Sclerotic changes in blood vessels are hardening of the arteries, or blood vessels, I guess, since that's the word I used. So here's a specialized region in the front of the eyeball. It's specialized because it's clear and light can enter that. We have the iris. The iris is the color of the eye. In the opening there of it, that dark spot that we showed earlier, that's the pupil. We have a couple different muscle groups within the iris, so it's not just a pretty little face, giving your eye that fantastic color that it has. There's also some muscles within it that change the shape of the pupil and let more or less light in ultimately. We have the lens, and that's what helps to focus that image back here. Oh, let me change that color. Gosh. That's what helps to focus that image right there on the back of the retina at the fovea. Here is the retina itself. This is the neural layer of the eyeball, the neural tunic, if you will. This is what houses those photoreceptors. P-H-O-T-O-R-E-C-E-P-T-O-R-S, photoreceptors. Okay. And this is what allows us to see in black and whites, see in color. We have different photoreceptors, rods and cones that allow us to do all that fun stuff. The fovea centralis is just the spot for greatest visual acuity, and we'll talk about this, I think, in a little bit. The optic disc, also known as the blind spot, it's the blind spot because there is no photoreceptors, REC, period. Okay, so that's what the eyeball looks, and as light comes in, it bends and refracts. So we have a refraction going on here. We have another refraction going on here, ultimately to get that image right there. Fantastic. I do know, again, there's maybe one or two questions based on plural forms. Pupil, pupillae, okay. Plural form, P-U-P-I-L. L-A-E is this one, okay. Pupillae. Pupillary, pertaining to the pupils. I don't believe I've asked it, but this is more of an anatomy question. I don't believe I asked any questions involved with pathway of light entering through the eyeball, but that is, you go through the cornea, you go through the space, you go through the pupil, go through the lens, travel back through this space here and hit the fovea. And that's what they look here, cornea, iris from superficial to innermost. So we kind of went through all those. Knowing maybe a slight function of these things, that's a simple function of these things as I just kind of listed on that previous slide. And if you didn't write those down, just rewind it a few seconds and go back and write those down. Here is the retina close up, okay? It's this right here. This is the retina, whoopsie, okay? This right here is the retina. This right here wasn't listed on the previous slide, but this is the choroid. The choroid is just a vascular layer, okay? It's where blood vessels are. I'm going to put BV for blood vessels, okay? Blood vessels are obviously important. Heck, you can see them there in the picture coming into the eyeball. Obviously, blood vessels are important because they bring nutrients, take away waste. They bring vitamin A. Vitamin A is important. Vitamin A is one of the most important vitamins involved with vision. If you have a deficiency of vitamin A, you have what's called night blindness, okay? Because it helps to allow the photoreceptors to work properly, especially those ones that function in the dark. But there is your rods and your cones. These are your photoreceptors right here, okay? The rods and the cones. And the rods are the ones that see it at night in darks. And the cones are the ones that are function when it's light out. And then we have a series of relays here, ultimately forming the optic nerve as it extends back and out from the eyeball. We do have a couple different terms, and these are all structures there on the back of, excuse me, on the back of the retina. We saw the fovea centralis. Okay, we saw the fovea centralis. I'll just start there. Fovea means pit. It's Latin for pit. Centralis is central, is pertaining to. So this is pertaining to a center pit. Okay. This fovea centralis is dead center in that macula luteae. Okay. Macula is Latin for small yellow spot. Okay. Macula is Latin for small spot. Lutea, sorry, is yellow. So this is a small yellow spot at the back of the retina. In the dead center of that macula lutea, we have a shallow pit. And that shallow pit is the fovea centralis. Okay. This is your area for greatest visual acuity. Acuity means sharp, sharpen in Latin. Okay. So this is your area for greatest visual acuity, the macula lutea, and even more so the fovea centralis. It's interesting. They measured this little pit. And if you go to your yearly eye checkup, they actually take pictures of this now. Okay, it's like $50 or something. At least it is at my place. And they can monitor that over the course of your lifetime, because if it gets kind of too deep, that can indicate some potential vision problems down the road. I've had mine checked out. Mine's a little bit deeper than what is considered quote unquote normal. I guess I like typical better. I don't like normal. Normal has bad connotations, right? So this does have some significance in your long-term eye health, which is really important when it comes to, interacting with the world, eating, just having a full kind of, meaningful life. At least for me anyway, it does. The only thing I'll say is light bends as it enters the eyeball. Okay. As soon as light enters into the eyeball, it will bend a little bit. This is air. This is filled with water. So there is a pretty significant bend that can occur there. The lens helps to bend that light again and get it to focus back there on the fovea itself. If for some reason that lens can't function right, or if the cornea is misshapen, or if the eyeball's misshapen and it causes some weird bending, that's where, eyewear comes into, or contacts come into it, or LASIK comes into the fray here. And it helps to focus and get that light to refract or bend so it can hit us back there on the fovea centralis. Let's see here. Some terms here. Again, these are the terms: hyperopia, myopia, presbyopia, and astigmatism. You should definitely know what all of these are. Okay, you should definitely know what these are. We have hyper means elevated. In this case, it's referring to beyond. Okay, in this case, it's referring to beyond. So opia, obviously we saw that earlier. This is vision. So this is objects, well, it's farsightedness. Okay, you can see far away, you can't see close up. Again, hyper means beyond. Okay, opia means vision. So this is going to be something where we can see far away, we can't see close up. So if you have hyperopia vision, you're farsighted. Myopic is nearsighted. Okay, myopia, again, opia means sight. Okay, opia means sight. And for this one, myo or apo means myo is to blink. And when something's real close up, you blink quite a bit. And so this is what we mean by nearsighted. So you can see near, you can't see far away. Okay? And if you stay in school long enough and have normal vision, eventually you become nearsighted. I would love to sue my schools. I had great vision. Stay in school long enough, it'll screw you up. Presbyopia is old age, basically. This is difficulty. Presby means old age, opia, vision. So this is old age vision. So this is the difficulty that occurs as you get older in life. And for this, you have difficulty in seeing near your eyeball. You can do a convex bifocals are what help to fix this issue and allow you to see up close. That's why you see a lot of elderly folk wearing bifocals. So it really gets that to get a heck of a lot bigger for them so they can see. Last one is astigmatism, and astigmatism is just an unequal curvature. Okay, astigmatism is just an unequal curvature of the eyeball. Could be the cornea, could be the eyeball itself. Either one of them can be misshapen, causing astigmatism. Stigma means focus. Stigma means focus. A means without. Ism is just a process. So this is a process of focusing that doesn't work properly. And if you truly have astigmatism, there's an astigmatism test. We have one in 207. If we want to go next door, sometime, we can play around with that if you want to see if you truly have astigmatism. And it could lead to some issues with obviously creating a very blurred image. If you have it, it's probably already corrected with lens wear anyway. Just some terminology here. Again, all opia is always pertaining to sight. Ism is an action. Ations is a process. Hyper, as we saw, is elevated or beyond. Okay. So again, just taking these little suffixes. Okay. Prefix, hyper. All of them but hyper are suffixes. As long as we know what these little words mean, what these elements mean, we can truly, truly, truly figure out any question on this exam. So really focus on that, please.